Hey guys, thanks for coming back. This is Triotonic Podcast, episode 33. My name is Jose Rodriguez, and my co-host
Andrew Carraro. It's not struck from the record this time, and I will continue saying my last name.
Yeah, do we have matching colored?
We do have matching vapes. Oh, cover the logo.
Yeah,
not trying to get no free promos up in this bitch.
Yeah, man. So we wanted to get back on. We wanted to let people know that our podcast has been shifting. I think we talked about it a little bit last time. Did we?
Yeah. I guess we could just touch upon that again. We felt like a lot of our time on the podcast on every episode was being devoted to financials, cryptocurrency, economics, stocks. And so we felt like, there's definitely an audience for that. I think we both, get hit up quite a bit by different people asking for our opinions or what we think about certain things. And I know myself that, when I first started this journey, I was looking for like an all-inclusive source that could kind of like take me from the basics to where I wanted to be. Not that I'm, there's things that I can't learn now, but just a place that could like break things down to me on my level and in our vernacular and for people like us.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think some of the future content too, like we can do like a Q&A kind of like, what would I ask you if I didn't know what I was doing? Like some of the basic questions people ask, like, when they're reaching out to us, like, oh, what does this mean? What does that mean? And then we can answer back and forth, like a role play kind of thing, just
we're going to do some role playing.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, we'll get really interesting with it. Some of the episodes are going to be shorter. Some of them are going to be devoted to a specific topic. And we're just trying to do things remotely too, so we could get more content to people. A lot of the things with the financial industry, crypto and stocks, specifically options, are like time sensitive. So, sometimes we don't have time to meet up, and some opportunities go by. So we want to capitalize on that with the remote. We also wanted to say that we're not going to be going on Spotify and Apple Podcasts anymore. We're going to devote more of our time towards the YouTube portion of our exposure, and we're going to be slowly migrating to the Facebook group, and in the future some Discord stuff, and we'll see where the journey takes us in this direction. I know most of the channels me and you follow, they're more on that side, away from like the podcast.
It's like a lot of this stuff, I think you would agree is very visual, whether it be looking at charts, looking at options chains, a lot of stuff. Like if you tried to listen to podcasts following along, it's very tough to do. It's much easier to just pause a video and, just to revisit what you were saying. Like, I think a lot of this stuff, so much happens in so little time. We had that one break in our episodes where like, crypto went from like being the talk of the town to, being cut in half. So I think it's good that, since we both have lives, being able to be flexible and do some remote videos. And as you noticed, I'm on the moon with AMC right now.
You're on a what do you call it? A missile on the way up.
Yep.
Orbiting.
I'm riding that rocket all the way up.
Yeah. What do you got to say to some of these people that are like, oh, I sold my shares, and
Yeah, I mean, today AMC went down to about 40 and change, and I just bought more. So right now I have 124 shares total.
Nice.
So it's a nice chunk of change, and I'm holding. So I mean, look, to be completely honest, I was happy that AMC exploded because I did have my options. But full disclosure, I did sell my options. Just because the stock is so volatile, and options are such like a sensitive instrument that any little fluctuation in options, whether it be the implied volatility, theta, delta, any of the Greeks, anything that moves in those, like the price of the underlying contract is going to be affected. And so you could be putting a limit sell in for say like $150 on a contract, and within 3 seconds that thing falls down to like 120. And now because your limit order is at 150, it'll just keep dropping and it's never going to execute because you set it at 150. And so for that reason, I took my gains of my contracts, cashed them out, put them all into common stock. And, now what I did was, like I said, last week, I sold the covered call. That covered call expires tomorrow. $40 strike price. If it gets executed, it's great. I'll just, roll it over into another 100 and sell another covered call. Ideally, I would like it to, fall under that break even. If it falls under that break even, I'm just going to sell another covered call. And that alone in itself, even if AMC does come crashing down, would be a nice gain. So, because the implied volatility on these calls for AMC, they're the highest in the market right now. So you're collecting a nice premium if you're selling covered calls on AMC.
Yeah. And one of the things I wanted to bring up that we're talking about AMC right now is that there's this, there's a program that what it does is it basically shows you the value of a stock when it's heavily shorted. And you know how like it's the actual value is manipulated because of all the like synthetic shares and things like that and everything. And it's called like deep something. And basically what it does is people could look like, let's say in the case of AMC, they're like, oh, I wonder what this is really worth, if all this wasn't going on with it. And there was this like photo leak of somebody that has this program. And supposedly the share value is actually at like 1,300 or something like that. But that could be some of that, like,
that the IBS
irrational, what is it called?
Irrational bullish sentiment.
Yeah, the opposite of FUD. But it got people all excited, that.
What is the name of it? Does it have something to do with deep value?
No, it has a name. It's like deep. It's not Deep Purple. That's like a band, but I got to get the name of it. I'll find the name of it. I'll link it in the video. But apparently it's a program that a lot of people use because it shows, like, especially even like stocks that are overvalued. It shows like, what it's really valued at.
What their fair value is.
Yeah. So people use it as a reference and then, I guess with their own information, cross-reference with that, and they get a better idea when they're making big moves.
Yeah, I'd like to see what like the criteria that they use is. But to go back onto AMC, one of the things that you pointed out, and now I've seen on a couple other platforms and message boards, is that a lot of in the money calls are going to be expiring on June 18th. And to go back what we were saying about the gamma squeezes, when there's an overwhelming amount of options calls specifically that are in the money, which means they are above the strike price, are expiring on a certain day, that's when the gamma squeeze happens. And so that's when these market makers would be buying up these shares to try and hedge their risk. And so while I am tempted to, to maybe sell a few of those shares, not put all my eggs in one basket, I'm really excited for what's coming on the 18th. Additionally, if anybody's looked at the charts, you can see that AMC is building a perfect hedge. So, I mean, it started out with like a lot of volatility. It was going, very, very high, very, very low, up and down. And then as we've come to this point, it's gotten lower highs and higher lows, and it's finally going to come to a point. And usually, as technical analysis dictates, when it gets to that point, then it finally breaks out.
Yeah. So, everybody sit tight, like I figure like a lot of investments like that, it's like, why back down now? You know what I mean? Like you made a little money, but what could happen? Are you lose a couple of dollars on your investment,
Yeah. And I mean, another amazing sign that we have with AMC too is the relative strength index, which if any of you guys have Webull, it's one of the oscillators that you can actually set to review all your stocks. I use the MACD and the RSI. The MACD is the moving average convergence divergence. And it's basically just two little lines. And based on where those lines are going, you can tell where the momentum is going to go. Is it going to go down? Is it, set to go on a downtrend, set to go on an uptrend? And with the RSI, if it goes below 30, the stock is oversold. If it's above 70, it's overbought. And so the great thing now is that even though AMC has fallen all the way down to the low 40s, it's showing as oversold. So what that means is that we are due for another uptrend, and doesn't look like it's going to fall anymore. Looks like it's got some support where it is now. So big. Hopefully, we got some big things coming. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes.
Yeah, and I gotta go to Sizzler. Yeah. So some other big news that I wanted to talk about was El Salvador. Back to crypto. I know crypto is not getting a lot of love right now, but it's trending sideways and like going up and down a little bit. It's like a bearish type of movement, but it's due to break out, and a lot of people feel like that there's a lot of manipulation going on with it right now. What I think the number is somewhere in like the range of like the crypto market is about 1/70th of like the full like I guess the stock market and things like that, as far as like the market cap size. So if these people have enough smarts to manipulate, a Wall Street market, like they could be like, let's put all of our attention to crypto, and it's probably a lot easier to manipulate the crypto market with all the tools they've learned over so many years. You know what I mean? And the smaller size.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, I think like I'm not sure if we talked about it, but when we had that crazy crash with everything that happened in China, they came out with all that news that China had quote unquote banned cryptocurrency. But if you were anywhere on the message boards or anywhere on the internet, stock twits, everybody was saying it was all a bunch of bullshit and it was FUD. And what they were trying to do was drive the price down of crypto so that they could buy it all up and then essentially have control of the crypto market.
Yeah.
Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Look, I personally believe that the Federal Reserve and the central banks around the world will not give up control of monetary policy so easily. So maybe while crypto right now isn't so big, I mean, like you're saying, it's like 1/70th of whatever markets. It's a very small piece of the global economy. But if it was to get so big, and the fact that it's decentralized, nobody can control it like that, I think there would be things put in place to try and ruin it. Because I mean, the central banks, the Federal Reserve, they pretty much control everything, and then they don't want to give that up.
Yeah, it's tough because they either have to like pivot and if you can't beat them, join them type of thing, or like you said, destroy the market and just make it not attractive. But the same thing would happen. Like I would say, like, what was it? I think 2017 with Bitcoin when it crashed.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. It's just like, even if it crashes and they destroy it, it's just gonna like drop, and then it's just going to pick up momentum again, just because I feel like the ideals are based on that, like for them not to be able to do that, and eventually they're just going to try to build it up to overcome that, and one day they'll be successful, one day countries will have to conform. And that leads me back to what we were talking about El Salvador. They just made Bitcoin a legal tender, and they're like the first country to actually do that, which is mind blowing to me. I don't see why like none of these like other countries in, especially in Central America, but like in other countries in like Europe and, Asian countries, things like that. Like they would have done it first, being that they're in such a like tight spot.
Yeah.
That could be a quick game changer for them, like just hitching their wagon to that when their dollar is like a tenth of a penny of the American dollar. It's like, what do you got to lose,
I mean, I would like to see, I didn't have the chance to look into it because obviously the news just broke today, but I'd like to see like if their fiat currency, El Salvador's, is pegged to any other fiat currency. And if it's not, then like, what's the strength of their fiat currency versus other fiats? Like, do they have a ton of crypto in their sovereign wealth fund? What motivated this choice? Because 9 times out of 10, I may be cynical, but governments usually don't make decisions based on the good of the people. It's usually for the advantage of those in power.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you saw the follow-up news. I posted it in the Facebook group. By the way, we should shout out the Facebook group. If you guys are watching this, you should join the Facebook group. It's called Ape Logic Massive Gains. We're going to be putting all the stuff that we find interesting, some stock and crypto memes that'll brighten up your day when markets are down. um, but yeah, it's a lot of people just looking to get all of the best information in one place, like you said, centralized things that we find interesting. So yeah, definitely give us a follow on there. We're both in there, providing information. Yeah, and aside from that, the new news that I posted today was that El Salvador announced that they were going to use energy from volcanoes to mine Bitcoin. So it's not. So that kind of is an advantage, now that they made it legal tender, and they're not going to be
geothermal.
Yeah, they're not going to be using carbon
fossil fuels.
Yeah, they're going to use the volcanoes. Not a lot of people have volcanoes, so it benefits them.
I bet you Iceland does something like that. I think like 70% of Iceland's energy comes from geothermals.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess they had a plan in place. I don't know who the fuck in El Salvador. They got some scientists cracking over there. But it's interesting. It's something to look at, and a game changer for them if it's something they could pull off.
Something interesting I heard somebody bring up in discussion was that we aren't going to be able to possibly stop, some of these dirty mined cryptos, for instance, in China, that they're using coal for, or any other place that's using these dirty fuels. But what some people believe is that just the way, like, how we have blood diamonds, and, maybe blood diamonds aren't like certified by such and such agency, and you pay more for the clean diamonds, the morally and responsibly mined diamonds. People think that in the future that could be the story with Bitcoin. Like, you'll pay a premium for a responsibly mined Bitcoin, and it'll be more sought after.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, even down to like produce, you're paying for like the cage-free chickens and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so it's like, and then you realize that cage-free is just like a loophole.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, like their cage has a hole in it where they can stick their head out, like something weird like that.
Get some cage-free Bitcoin.
Yeah. What's so weird? Every time we do a show, I get a random ass Facebook friend request, like from somebody I don't know. Today I got Robinson Ulysses added me. Well, shout out to him, but
Robinson Ulysses.
Yeah.
Who was the one that was last time? I forget. I remember we shouted him out too.
Yeah, I forgot. But hopefully it's not another Forex trader.
It's got to be a Forex trader.
Yeah, but yeah. So you were talking a little bit about Clover. If you want to like touch on that.
Oh yeah, bit. Yeah. So I mean, look, this is what I've been hearing on the message boards. I cannot neither confirm nor deny whether or not these are facts, or if it's just shit going around on Reddit and the other market boards. But supposedly the wild ass rally that we've seen in the supposed other meme stocks this week was Wendy's, Clover, there was
BlackBerry,
Context Logic.
Wasn't BlackBerry one of them?
BlackBerry was more so last week. This week it was like four of them. It was like Context Logic with the ticker symbol WISH, Clean Energy, CLNE, Wendy's, and Clover. Clover was by far the biggest out of all of them. I think it was like 150% in 2 sessions. But what people are saying is that it's the hedgies, and they're trying to divert hype and attention from AMC so that they can try and cover their positions. Another big thing too, like after it, it had all this momentum and went sky high, not too long after that, it collapsed right back down. So, I mean, it looked like a classic pump and dump. Whereas AMC, we're sitting here like, a week and a half, 2 weeks later, and it's still holding pretty steady at 40. Yeah, of course, it's gone up to 60. It's been incredibly volatile, but it's never lost that support at 40. And Clover has been insane. I spoke to quite a few people who lost their shirts on Clover this week. So don't buy into the hype. There's only one AMC, one GME.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man. And so just another topic that we were touching on was like, like when people want to reach out to us for like like when they want to talk about options or crypto, like what is your preferred method? Like, when we do the Facebook group.
Yeah, I mean, I think just maybe DMing us or tagging us, within the Facebook group would probably be the best method. Jose and I are talking about like potentially doing some Zoom meetings or maybe meeting in person. We haven't really figured out the best medium for trying to explain as many concepts as possible to as many people as possible at once. But as soon as we figure that out, like we just want to try and expand everybody's knowledge as best we can, as easiest as we can.
Yeah, maybe I think what we can do is like set up almost like a curriculum of like things that we want to touch on, and like,
Yeah.
small episodes. And then once we do them and we touch on them, then like, people could reach out to us, and then we know specifically something they want to learn
What they
on,
want to know.
Yeah, because there's a lot of strategies, and even some that like we're not experts on, but like we can really dive deep on them and then prepare a short video on it. Like I know you've already done a lot of like, just regular calls and puts, covered calls, things like that. And I even heard you talk about condors.
Yeah, I've done iron condors, I've done strangles, straddles, diagonals, calendar spreads.
Yeah, and there's some really more like intense ones than that too. And just stuff that we can like really, when we feel comfortable to like make some videos on it, we'll tackle them piece by piece, starting with like the more simple ones, I think, because that'll help people out a lot. And yeah, and then from there we'll just reach out to us, and we'll gladly go over it again, or you know we'll figure it out person by person.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the most important thing is to develop like a strong foundation of knowledge. Because for me, like going from like stocks into options, there were a lot of like basic concepts that I hadn't picked up along the way when I was just, starting off trading on Robinhood. But then as like I got into it and I understood what like these little fundamentals meant, it kind of like comes together as like a puzzle. I mean, it's like anything you learn, you really want to develop like a strong foundation of the basics. And then once you have that strong foundation, everything that's above it will be much, much stronger. So I think if we get into like, maybe the basics of trading, maybe some financial concepts, some economic concepts, just really, help people out as best that, we can, and as best as they want to be served or taught, or, I just know that, although Robinhood was made like the bad guy and all of this, like with the GME and the AMC, like I probably wouldn't have delved in as hard as I did unless I had that catalyst,
Yeah.
Like with and especially with lockdown, with having so much time on my hands, I spent a lot of time on YouTube learning the stuff. I took a couple of courses with the New York Institute of Finance online. I did a lot of reading.
With the NIF.
Yeah, with NIF.
NIF.
So
yeah, man. Yeah. So yeah, man. But yeah, I guess we'll keep it short and sweet. We normally go like over an hour, but that's when we're in person, and but with these Zoom ones, we'll do them a little shorter, post them up on YouTube. Hopefully, some people that are reaching out, well, I'll put the link to the Facebook group in the new videos. And yeah, I mean,
maybe we could do like a quick update tomorrow, a couple hours after market close, let everybody know how my covered call situation went. And, like we were saying, like everything's pretty visual when it comes to stocks and options and everything. So maybe we could start doing some visual aids. We'll start showing you guys some of our trades. And from there, I think it'll be a lot easier to start picking things up once you have like that visual to associate what we're trying to explain with.
Yeah, we can do screen sharing. So, that'll be if we do with like a laptop or something like that, like I'll have the visuals, I'll screen share it, and I'll know when you're explaining, you know, I could just like go ahead and oh shit. That's crazy. When you blew the smoke, it only goes to like your edge. Like, you know, it doesn't go out to the, I guess, like space, you know.
Oh,
So
it was my head.
you just turned gray. Yeah, you were just like flickering gray. But yeah, that's cool.
You get all types of special effects, man. We're doing it big.
Yeah, doing it big, man. For episode 33, Scottie Pippen. All right, man. Well, that's it for tonight. You know, we'll be coming at you with a lot more content, so please subscribe on YouTube. And,
I feel like we need like a sign off phrase. So I think maybe we should have like some people like suggest like a nice like sign off phrase, like a, you know, like a stay classy San Diego type shit.
Yeah, or like you know how they have like to the moon.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like little catchphrases. Yeah, leave some comments, guys. Also, if you're still holding, hit the like button. You know, on the video.
Hodling.
Yeah, hodl.
Yes.
If you're still hodling, hit the like button. And yeah, that's it. We'll see you next time on the next update. Later.